Hello, everyone. A very warm good evening, good morning, good afternoon to various people who have joined this webinar from various parts of the world. Hearty welcome to one and all present here. So, as you can all see on the screen, that the topic which is there for the webinar is qualitative, quantitative, and mixed research. Before we begin the topic of the research, let me tell you about us, that is a research graduate. So we, as a consultant company in the market, we provides you, or we support you rather, I should say, that we facilitate your research journey. So when I say that we facilitate your research journey, so that facilitations begin itself from the topic selection, and it goes on till you are done with your submission of your research, and be it in the capacity of your thesis submission, or be it in the capacity of your research paper submission. Okay, so your statistical analysis, your proofreading, or making your research work worthy of publishing, all that you can rely for research graduate for it. So you may consider research graduate as a one-stop solution for all your research queries. Okay, so when it comes to contacted research graduate for all these queries, so you may do so by contacting research graduate on following details, that is email id you may see on your screens as at info@researchgraduate.com. Number is given for your reference, and you can also browse us at researchgraduate.com. Now, let me tell you the webinar structure. How will we proceed? So, more or less, the webinar would be of 90 minutes or so presentation. So, when I say 90 minutes or so, it may be 90 minutes or so, it may be of 80, 85 or 90, 95 as well. So, I do not say that it has to be 90 dot, and which will be preceded by the question and answer session. All right. So, be rest assured that the questions will be well taken care of. Do not please worry about your PPTs and the certificates. All those who are registered for this webinar, all the people will be well received for this certificate for attending this webinar. You all will be registering, you all will be receiving it, provided your email ID is correct. So make sure that is correct. And one very important information which I would like to give you: please, please, please do not worry, or please do not fill up the chat box that slides are not clear and whatnot. Please increase your video quality on YouTube to 720p so that you can have a better picture quality. Anybody who have joined the webinar from their mobile phones, they might can experience a glitch in the video quality. Reason being, because phones comparatively, they do not give you a better quality than as compared to laptop. So please, whatever arrangements you need to do before we start the webinar, please do it right away. even in case even in case still you do not experience that better quality, just don't worry about it. You please listen to me, all right? Because in any which ways, PPT you will receive by the end of the webinar, recording you will receive by the end of the webinar. So here the point is to understand the concept. Okay, now let's start the webinar for here, uh, what we have met for. Okay, now, as I told you, that the topic for which we have met today is understanding qualitative, quantitative, and mixed research. Now, let me just give you a quick snapshot about today's webinar, today's presentation. See, this is primarily not designed intentionally. I have not designed today's deliverables by keeping a particular audience in mind. Okay, because this particular concept of qualitative, quantitative, mixed research is basically is a platter which is to be used by all of you researchers, be it, you are from management, and you are from literature, or you are from biotechnology, or you're from pharmacy, and so on. So when I say management, so I am a management educationist. Okay, with this, I forgot to give you my introduction. Myself, Dr. Renu Mishra, and I'm located in Dubai, and I take care of management education, management module from past 12 years, and in which I teach MBA and PhD and BBA students as well. I can see some of the known names, so they very well know about me. So when I say I take care of management modules, so I very well know and very well understand that many a times we um, kind of get confused that when it comes to research part, be for any researcher, uh, when are we progressing with our dissertation, which with our research paper. So first question which hits to our mind is whether to do a qualitative research or a quantitative research or a mixed research. Agreed, right? So when we do our PhD, so this kind of question, that what kind of research we should do, I think majority of the time is being taken care of by our PhD supervisor. So all those students who are doing DB under me, like DBA, that is called as Doctorate of Business Administration. So the Western universities here, like one of the universities with which I am pursuing or I am supervising students for, that is based in USA, they give DBA degrees. Okay, so they don't call it PhD here; they call it DBA degree, which is a similar program. They also give you a doctorate degree, but a capsule program of PhD. So I basically suggest to my students based on their research questions, or the topic of interest, what they are looking for or what they're interested in looking for. So I suggest them, okay, fine, this is more of suitable of qualitative or quantitative, and based on the time frame they have, we also go for suggesting whether mixed research is suitable or not, which I'll tell you when we progressed with the webinar further. So this question many a times comes to your mind, that whether qualitative quantitative is good or not. So this webinar is, I have designed in such a way with help of certain examples, which will help you to ascertain, when you will fit in this explanation into your own research topic, it will help you that whether you should go for your qualitative research or quantitative research or a mixed research. Okay, okay, now don't think that you know the example which you have taken is not apt or not according to my field. Okay, now just follow the explanation which I'm giving. Okay, just follow the explanation which I'm giving and understand the explanation. Okay, understand the explanation which I'm giving. When you will understand the explanation, and when you will fit in your own research question in that explanation, you will understand that whether this research should be qualitative, this research should be quantitative, or this should be mixed. Now in this webinar, all those who are academicians, please, their suggestions also are more than welcome. Okay, all right. So firstly, let us understand what is a qualitative research. So in a nutshell, just vaguely, what is an understanding about qualitative is, qualitative gives you a non-numerical information. Qualitative research, when you are going for a qualitative research, it gives you a non-numerical research. That means you are collecting the information which is collected through an open-ended communication. Open-ended communication means when you are allowing your respondent, when you are allowing your respondents means the people with whom or from whom you are collecting data. So the respondents, the term respondents remains the same, the sample, the term sample or respondent, whomsoever you may want to call it, remains the same for your qualitative research or quantitative mix. That remains the same. Okay. So you are collecting information from respondents, open ended. Open ended means you have set them free. So you are collecting as much as information they want to share it with you. Okay, so they are not bounded to choose from any option which you have given to them. Okay, all right. So when you talk about qualitative research further, it does not give you any qualitative number, quantitative number, numerical number. It does not give you any number, numerical number. Okay. Second thing, it gives you any detailed information. Okay, very detailed information, like how do you feel about, let's say, very, I'll give you examples also, but at this point in time let us deal about this. How do you feel about today's afternoon? Like here in Dubai it is afternoon only. So how do you feel about today's afternoon? So about feeling about today's afternoon, you can't just say that. I'm saying you to elaborate your feelings. Okay, so when I say, if I'm asking about, do you like about, do you like today's afternoon, so you can say good and bad, right? But when I say how do you like about today's afternoon, so then you'll have to elaborate, right? So that is, I'm asking about your qualitative opinion. All right. Okay, now further, the primary purpose of conducting such kind of research is when you would like to interrogate more and more about your respondents' opinion, what they feel, why they are feeling so. So let's say, for instance, I say, I like, let's say, for example, I like to go via public transport. Fine. That's my preference. I like to go via public transport. Now I want to conduct a qualitative research that why people like to go via public transport. This can be my research. So when I would conduct a research that why people like to go via public transports, this will give me the opinion of people, the feelings of people, that what are those factors which are contributing towards the preferences of people, because of which they are preferring the public transport. Okay, so this is what we call as qualitative research. Okay, now let's have a better understanding about the same with the help of a example. Let's say you have a bakery and you want to know that why there is a better sales of pancakes more than the pastries. Now all those who are from India, for them only, particularly for them only, others, they understand pancakes, and I'm sure India, for Indians also they understand pancakes, but I'm from North India, so I relate pancakes with those chilas which we make in the breakfast, right? So let's say, we have a bakery and we want to understand that why there is a better sales of pancakes than the pastries. Now you can't determine this with the help of surveys or a questionnaires. Now questionnaires, where there we give a uh, um questionnaires or surveys. Now, I would like to take this queries that definitely I can speed up this webinar, and absolutely fine that you are multiple degree holders and you are not school children. But these kind of webinars are conducted and coordinated keeping the wide range of audiences in mind. So everybody is not at the same level as you are. I hope you understood my point. All right. Okay, and if you are that if your intellect level is so high, so you don't need such kind of webinars. I hope you got my point. So the point is that if you want to understand that why there is a sale of increase, the point is to understand that why. Okay, so that why, the understanding of this why makes this scenario best suitable to get coordinated from qualitative research perspective. Okay, so if we want to understand that, if we have a bakery and if you want to understand that why a particular product is being sold more than over other, right? So in order to understand the reason behind it, we want to hold a qualitative research. Okay, we want to hold a qualitative research, because quantitative research will give you the preference of people, that they like pastry over pancakes, or they like croissant over bread, or they like any other product over any other product. Okay, but the point is that when we want to understand the reasoning behind the same, there the qualitative research comes into picture. Okay, so whenever you want to understand the why and the how behind your qualitative research, and your research questions are designed in such a way that you want to understand the reasoning behind your topic on your research questions, you'll have to go for qualitative research. And now, how would you design your research question? That we have already understood into your previous webinars. Now, but still, I'll give you a quick recap on that. When you take a look on your research gap, that what kind of topic is not being covered in the literature gap, on the basis of that, you come to your research question. So first is your literature gap, then your research questions, then your research objectives. So when you come at the stage of research question and research objective, then is the point you decide whether you would like to go for qualitative research or quantitative research. Agreed? If you still want to make some notes, you can make it here only. So when you decide your literature gap, or you find your literature gap, you move to research question. At that point in time, you decide your type of research you would like to go for. All right. Moving further. Now, question comes that when should you choose qualitative research? I think by for now, you all must have understood that when should you choose the qualitative research. So, qualitative research, just at this point in time, you should have got a clear understanding that when you get a detail, when you would like to get a detail about the topic, that why this is happening, or you would like to develop a new theory, qualitative research helps you to develop a new theory or a new concept. Why? I'll tell you. Because in order to develop the new theory, you need to have a proper logic reasoning. Okay, qualitative research gives you that. So when you are aiming to develop a new theory or a new concept, you'll go for qualitative reasoning. Okay. Generally, humanities or social science fields, the research which are aiming or which are from the field of humanities or from the social science field, they are going for primarily qualitative research. Here I'm not advocating qualitative research, but they are most oftenly used in qualitative research. Here I have given some examples also, that what kind of research questions do you find in qualitative research. For example, how do employee decides when it times to transition to a new career? So you can have a look on the kind of research questions. You can have a type of research question. What kind of research questions do you need to formulate when you are going for a qualitative research? Okay, so when you are looking for some experiences, when you are trying to find out some behavioral patterns, When you are trying to find out some feelings or emotions, bang on, you are on the right track if you have decided to go for qualitative research. Because you can't just bound anybody's behavior into numerical value. All right, because in numerical value you measure the attitude, not the behavior. All right, you measure the preferences, not the emotions. All right, so these are the examples of the research questions. For your preference, I have given you for the qualitative research. All right, let's move on. Now we'll have a look on the types of qualitative data which falls into the category of qualitative research. So for this particularly webinar, I have made the PPTs little bit in detail, so that when you sit back with the PPTs, you will get a clear understanding, so that you can fit in your research domain and your topic back into these understanding or these topic references. All right, so primarily when you talk about the qualitative data, they fall into two types of data. Okay, before that I move ahead, whosoever have any questions, I would like to just request that just make a note of your questions on a piece of paper for the time being. Once I finish my explanation, uh, then you please start typing in the chat box. Otherwise what happen is that your questions just go away. Okay, just they just went up and up. So when we start with question answers, then you start typing into the chat box. Okay, uh, I'll be just rest assured, I'll take each and every question. There'll be no questions which will be left behind. All right, okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so there'll be no question left behind, don't worry. But just for the timing, till the time explanation is going on, just write these questions on a piece of paper. Okay, so when we talk about the types of qualitative data, there are two types of qualitative data: nominal and ordinal. Okay, so basically, when we talk about nominal data, nominal data is also called as named data, like your or country, or your or any type of data which you can name. Okay, but however, there is no value given. So for example, my name is Renu, somebody's name is Sanjukta, somebody's name is Soresh. So we can't value that value of Soresh name is 1, value of Jyoti's name is 2. We can't, because every name is equal, right? Or value of Naresh name is 3, or value of Khan's name is 1. We can't value anybody's name, every name is equal. All right, so one type of data is nominal data. Another type is just that you can label. Here is another data is ordinal data. Ordinal data refers to categorical data, which that does not have any specified order. Basically, they does not have any specified order. Basically, for example, somebody says that there is a list of food items. Somebody says that I like biryani. Somebody says that I like pizza. Somebody says that I like salad. Somebody says that I like some North Indian dish. So there is no specified order that pizza is better than biryani or salad is better than any North Indian dish. Okay, so category is there. Category is there, but there is no order is there. So when you fill into this kind of add order, when you fill in this kind of data, there is no order given is that pizza is better than biryani. No, it's not like that, right? For example, further I'll explain it. For example, uh, for instance, if you say that there are different categories given to it. Like for example, we do online shopping, right? We do online shopping. So there are different kind of sizes given for the apparels, there are different kind of sizes given for the clothing, right? Medium size is this, small size is this, large size is this, extra small is this. But we can't say that there is a specific order, there are different categories. We can't say that medium is better than small, there is no order given in it, but there are different categories given in it, right? There are different categories of men, women, and kids, right? This is ordinal data. Okay, so there are different two types of qualitative data: nominal and ordinal. Now coming to qualitative research methods. Okay. Now, when we talk about qualitative research method, I'm sure that this particular slide would be little blurred to you, but we'll be taking each one of the methods in detail. Let me start one by one. Okay. First is observation method. Now, what is called as observation method? I'm sure that observation method is very clear just by the name of it. Okay, just by the name is very clear. Observation method is very one of the very common method also, and it is very widely reliable also when it comes to qualitative research. In fact, I also used in my PhD thesis good 10 years back. This method, when you use this kind of method, this observation method, this primarily relies more on how your respondent is behaving, how they are expressing, how their qualities are, you know expressing out with the help of their actions in their normal setting. Okay, how they are expressing out in a particular situation. So, researcher, when you are observing, when you are collecting data with the help of observation, you are collecting data with the help of closely watching them. Okay, so you may choose to, in some sense, in participant observation, you may choose to interact with them. However, in majority of the observation, the researcher choose to closely observe them. Now, one benefit of observation method is that the behavior of the target, the respondents, comes out to be natural, right? Reason being, they are expressing, or their behavior or their emotions remains as natural as they are. Their thoughts, their feelings, their experiences, they they get expressed as elaborative as they feel. Now, for example, I've given you an example also. A researcher who is observing kids' behavior in a private school. So let's say you choose to conduct a research where in which you need to research, or you need to observe the kids' behavior in a private school. So the researcher prefer to watch the behavior of the kids, how they interact with each other, how they comfortable with each other, and in which particular subject class they enjoy, how they find their class teacher, how they like the ambience of the school, and so on. So, this way, on the basis of the observation which he has made or she has made about the behavior of the kids in the private school, so the basic, or the detailed topic of the research can be, maybe he is conducting a comparative analysis between the behavior of the kids into private or a government school. Okay, or he's comparing the behavior analysis between two private school, or the factor influencing about the behavior of kids into private schools. So for these kind of research topic, he preferred to choose observation as a qualitative research methods with which he's collecting data about the behavior of the school kids into their school. Okay, all right. Now, the next method is one on one interview. So, I think this is very widely known, common method wherein you get a very deep, insight, detailed information, detailed insight about the respondent, your target, what they feel. See, in qualitative, research, the word quality is very important. The word quality is very important. Everything is revolved around the insight of the the sample you have taken. And one thing, take a note, in qualitative research your sample size remains small. All right, your sample size remains small. The ideal number of sample size, please take a note of it. The ideal number of sample size in qualitative research remains 12 to 15. You need not to go for 40, 50 sample size for qualitative research. You may justify your qualitative research even by taking 15 as a sample size. This has been proven by various researchers. So, as compared to quantitative researches, your sample size is relatively small in qualitative research. Okay. Now, coming back to one on one interviews. So, one on one interviews is basically when you are taking deep insight information about a particular topic from your sample. Okay, in depth qualitative data. So you have predetermined question wherein you are taking the questions, the answers from your sample, and the insight or the information on those questions from your sample. Now these questions may not be predetermined always. There can be some unstructured questions. The structured interviews are wherein the questions are set, predetermined. There can be unstructured interviews wherein the questions are different for different respondents. That means on the basis of their responses, the next question will come. So, different respondents, different questions. Okay. Now, these interviews can be conducted online, face to face, telephonic, this one. Now, example for one-on-one interview can be a business can conduct a structured interview with its trust, with its target audience to understand the effect attractiveness of their product before expanding their operation to a global level. Right, this can be done. Now, for example, this if I translate this into a from a researcher perspective. So, if a researcher is willing to ask about the effectiveness of a particular brand, that why people like a particular brand, they may go for this, or they or why people prefer one brand over other, they may go for it. Okay. Then is focus group. This is also one of the kind of interview only. However, slides would be clear now, I think. However, here you are not going one on one. In these kind of focus groups, you're not going one on one, rather you are coordinating a kind of a group discussion in which 6 to 7 group members who are holding a expertise in their respective domain. They are having a respective domain, and you as a researcher act as a moderator. Okay, then you give them a question and take their opinion on that same topic or on the same question. So each one of them gives you different opinion or their own opinion, which might can differ from one another. So in this way, at one point in time only, without going to different places to different people, you get multiple opinions in one go. Okay, now one thing to remember in asking focus group, that you'll have to ask open-ended questions. Now open-ended question is where you give the opportunity to your respondents to elaborate how, what, why, so that they have a chance, they have an opportunity to elaborate on their responses. Okay, so that they can expand, since you are doing qualitative research. So you need to hear your questions. Your data collection is very important. How your items, your questions are structured, they are very important. Okay, for that your literature review should be very strong. Now example of focus group method is, suppose a software company wants to test a new feature of its product before launching. There is a XYZ company, they want to test a new feature of its product before they venture into market. So in this case, they will conduct a focus group by choosing a sample group from their target audience, from their customers, and then that group will discuss about the future feature of that product, how useful it will be, how not useful it will be, how effective the pricing it according to the addition of that feature, how effective the pricing of the product is, or so not. Okay, based on that, the researcher of that company can give their feedback to the company, and then company can decide the launch of that product. All right. Okay, see, these kind of researches are not only used by the researchers, people like us, academicians. The, these are very well and very widely used by corporate also, the research and development departments. Very well, marketing research department. They are very well and very widely used by them. People actually, nowadays especially, they are spending hefty amount on research department in their organization. So that's why, just a piece of advice is that all those who have a very strong inclination towards research, or they have very good hand in research, and they see their future alongside in academics, so they see their future somewhere else also, they can see themselves into research department of their some corporate as well. Just a piece of advice that beyond academics also, research has a very good scope. Okay, all right, next is case study research. So case study research is when you are you know talking about a particular subject, event, person, organization. So your focus is not on many aspects. When I say aspect, is not on many organization, not on many industries, not on many individuals. Your focus is very focused, very specific. One organization, one or two organizations. So in that, you are developing your deep insight. You are dwelling deep into that. When you talk about this kind of approach, they are primarily focusing on social sciences, law, business, health. So, they are, like, for example, you may come across, case studies on Air India, case study on Jet Airways, or case study on fall of Kingfisher Airlines. So their focus is very, very, myopic. So myopic here is, don't take it as a negative word. They're very structured. They are working on the nitty gritties of one particular aspect of one organization. All right. Now, for example, business, they can use their case study to show their business solutions effectively, and when they introduce any new product in the market. Or researchers, let's say, for example, any particular researcher wants to work on the fall of Jet Airways or the fall of Kingfisher Airlines, or any researcher wants to work on any research paper, the rise and fall of Kingfisher Airlines, how Kingfisher Airlines once ruled the market and then they fall out, right? So this is particular the case study research, wherein instead of going for other in players in aviation, you are just focusing on how Kingfisher Airline rise and then they fall out. All right. So this is case study approach, wherein you are particularly focusing on one or maximum two organizations. All right. You're taking cases primarily. Now comes to ethnography research methods. This is also a type of research wherein you deal with people and their culture. So this kind of model is a social sciences model, wherein you are you as a researcher act as an observer. you know Sometimes you involve in their environmental also. Your observation method is a part of ethnographic research. Okay, you are, you ethnography extends and give rise to observation method. Let's say you are collecting data, you need to collect the data. You are, let's say, you are working on a healthcare topic. You need to collect topic you need to collect data on cancer patients. So you will be visiting to cancer hospitals, cancer amenities, or cancer facilities, and then you'll be collecting data. Being an observer, being a researcher, you will be working there as a researcher and collecting data from those facilities. You are a part of that environment, right? So you get first hand information that how people or how healthcare practitioners are actually working. Or mainly, if somebody is working on let's say, for example, understanding the evolution of various tribes, ethnography is that approach. Okay, it's not only the management side of the research. Many people are working on historical aspects also, evolution of human mankind. So there are various tribes which are yet to be understood well by human mankind. So ethnography is one such qualitative research type. Another is grounded theory. See, these research types are very important to be understood, because when you explain that I have chosen qualitative research method under which this is to be used, or this has been used, this type of qualitative research, till this also you need to mention. Okay. Okay, next is grounded theory. In grounded theory, you may use grounded theory in various you may use in various disciplines. And basically why this is happening. So you give the reasoning behind various actions. Okay, so how this reasoning comes across. So you collect data from literature, you collect data from observations, you collect data from various published documents. Okay, so grounded theory basically gives you the opportunity to understand the reasoning, or the logic, or I would say that the background of the particular action, based on the document analysis, the literature review. So and so, or so many authors say that this particular action leads to this behavior. That's why we say that. Or observation. So your observation can also leads to statement of one particular theory. This is called as grounded theory. So you may say that this particular research followed the grounded approach of qualitative research, wherein an observation method was adopted, thereby this theory was coined. Okay. Okay. Then it is called as phenomenology. Phenomenology is, here you are talking about that how there is a particular experience being felt by the sample with whom you are interacting. You talk about the experiences. How you talk about their experiences? When you work on them, or when you work with them based on their interviews. You work with the people. Just a second. If there is a, let me just work on the video. If there is a video blur, I would request kindly please increase the YouTube quality. Is it better now? Because from my end, I think it's good enough. I think now it will be better. Let me check. I think, yeah, from now on, my end is better. If you guys are viewing, all those who are experiencing are from your phone, they might can experience a blur quality. All right. Okay. So phenomenology basically is a type of qualitative research wherein you are noticing the experiences of sample based on whatever the information you have taken from the interviews or from the observations. So herein you are elaborated their experiences based on the data you have collected. So let's say there is an example in which the researcher is undertaking a study that to determine why students prefer to join online courses and why there is a popularity for the online courses. So for this, the experiences of the students towards the online courses will be taken by taking their interviews. Okay, all right. Now, let's talk about the qualitative data collection method. So, we have just understood about that you can collect the qualitative data by interviews, by focus group. We have understood all, and observations by records, that the published data which is already available, by surveys, by questionnaires. So, when you talk about the primary data, so when you give them the questionnaires, when you interview the people, you are collecting the primary data under the qualitative research. When you are understanding, or when you are collecting the secondary data through any published material, any records, any archives material, that is secondary data. All right, so these are the way you may collect the qualitative data collection method. All right, now let's talk about qualitative data analysis. So first is you're arranging the data. Now, when you talk about qualitative data, people express their emotions, people express their feelings. So when you know that, given a chance, everybody would like to express themselves, especially if they are suffering from something. So given a chance, if somebody will ask about their worries, that how do you feel, so obviously human mankind would like to talk about a lot. So imagine you have a lot of things: audio recordings, interviews written, transcripts. So firstly you need to arrange the data. Okay, now I'm telling you a very simplified and general data analysis method. Every one of you need to understand this, and then you will translate this method according to your own topic. Okay, because how you have got your data as per your own topic or as per your own questions, you'll have to then, let's say for example, arranging the data, how you have got this, how you have got your interview. So that arrangement needs to be done by you, okay, based on the information which you have got. So first is arranging the data. So you may arrange the data as whatever form of data you have collected. Second is organize the data. In organizing the data, maybe you have arranged it so well, but it is still so messy. So for that you need to organize in such a way that it is easy to read. For example, You may organize it in the base of questions you have asked, like one kind of questions asked from all the participants are in one side, another side same question, another question from all the participants are on another side. So you need to organize the data that for one question what kind of responses were given by all the respondents. Okay, all right. Then next is assigning codes. This is important. Now, since you have organized the data, now you know the responses of every respondent for all the questions. Here, what you will do is assigning codes. Now, how do you do that? For assigning codes, you will identify the themes and patterns. Okay, you will identify the themes and patterns. Themes and patterns are the commonly said things. So, for example, you asked the question that why do you feel motivated in your workplace? This was the question you asked from everybody. Okay, right. So the question was, why do you feel motivated? Somebody said salary, good environment, good boss. So salary was said by 5 people. So salary is a common theme which has been said by. So you may give one code to it. Similarly, you assign the themes and patterns on the basis of which you give the codes, and then you go on for the further analysis. Okay, then analyzing the data. So once you have done the codes assigning, and then you may go for repetitive words as I told you, and the phrases as well. Then you may also go for the comparison between the primary and the secondary data. Now what happened is there any difference between the data I have collected and the data which is there in the literature or which is there in the records? Like, for example, literature says that people are highly motivated with money, but the data which I have collected says something else. That means my research is giving a new result. Okay, that means I have got some unexpected results. So there is a new contribution from my research. Okay, so you need to analyze the data in this way. Then you need to summarize the data. So now the summarization is that you need to finally link your qualitative data with your hypothesis. So whatever your themes are, whatever your patterns are, you need to highlight it with your hypothesis. Now here, one thing is that not necessarily that every research should have a hypothesis. Firstly, okay, not every research should have a hypothesis. In case you do not have a hypothesis, you may simply summarize it, that what your results state based on the analysis of your results. Okay, all right. Now comes to quantitative data. Now quantitative data is opposite of your qualitative data or qualitative research. Now, what is quantitative research? Qualitative research we understood as non-numerical. Quantitative research is numerical. Okay. Now here, any research or a research methodology wherein you are trying to test already established theories, already established hypothesis. You established the hypothesis. You established any statement. Assumptions. Hypotheses are the assumptions, right? In order to test those assumptions, you need to collect some data. That is numerical data. Okay, that is called as quantitative research. Okay, so firstly, your numerical data, then is your, in this you collect the whatever opinions, behavior, attitudes you have to understand about your sample, you quantify them. Quantify them. The word important here is quantify them. For example, you want to understand the behavior of people towards ice cream. Okay, so here, according to the quantifiable research or the quantitative research, how will you understand? Do you like ice cream? Yes, no. This is your understanding that whether people like ice cream or not. Which flavor of the ice cream you like the most? You'll give the option. How often you like to visit the ice cream parlor? You'll give the option. So here you are trying to understand the behavior or the inclination of the people towards the preference towards the ice cream in a quantifiable manner. Okay, all right. Then quantitative research is basically, here is the main understand is you are trying to discover the facts which is by the data which can be measured with numbers, which can be measured with a numerical data, numbers. All right. Okay, another example for quantitative research, so that we have a better understanding. See, hypothesis formulation also we have understood this in previous webinars, because hypothesis is a assumption. Hypothesis is an assumption which we test with the help of our research. Okay, for this we will take another webinar, because if this we will include into this, so this will take a very extended time. Okay. Okay. Now there is a scenario for quantitative research. Suppose your qualitative analysis shows that your customers are looking for social media based customer support. In that case, quantitative analysis will help you show how many of your customers are looking for this support. Now, understand, if you are a company, okay, or let's say you are a researcher, okay, you are a researcher, so you are trying to understand that how many Instagram users would like Instagram to give them a customer support, and why. Okay, that why will be answered by qualitative research, and how many of them would like a customer support will be answered by quantitative research. Understood? So if 10% of your researcher will the customers will say that we want a what do you say that customer support, that number is being given by the quantitative research. Okay, so you might consider that not many of the customers would like to have customer support. That means they are satisfied with the services of the Instagram. If this numbers go beyond 40 or 50, that means Instagram should go for providing customer support services. Okay, so this is the way quantitative research helps you. So ascertaining the number is the main aspect. All right. Okay. Now, when should you choose quantitative research? So basically, the main aspect is to understand that how many and what is the main thing, right? The area in which you mainly use the quantitative researches are psychology, economics, in management, in when you talk about management, in HR, in marketing, economics, community health, human development, gender studies, all these areas you use quantitative studies. Examples I have given here is rather are, like, for example, if you want to understand that what is the relationship between unemployment and inflation rates, somebody who's looking for any economics topics. So if you want to understand the link between climate adaptation and mitigation fund allocation, or if you want to understand the relationship between job satisfaction and employee turnovers. So there is these are the examples of research questions which you design when you would like to go for any quantitative research. So I think now you understand that how it is important to have a very clear structure of your research questions when you are going for a research decision, qualitative or quantitative. So I think based on the examples which we have discussed by far so now, that which type of research we should go. So I always say that during the webinars we always conduct that the questions which we get, that we should go for qualitative or quantitative. I always say that it should be decided on the basis of the research questions, right? So now you must have understood that why I say so, because your research questions will decide that what you would like to identify, what you'd like to find out from your research. Okay, so now if you are interested in quantitative, how your research questions would look like. If you are interested in qualitative, how your research questions would look like. Okay. Okay, now exactly the characteristics of quantitative research, this is also very important. uh, Basically, the last line I will tell you, don't worry about it, just a second. Yeah, firstly is measurable variables. Measurables variable is whatever variables you are choosing in quantitative research, they are measurable. Since we all know that in quantitative research your data is numerical. Okay, so whichever variables you are identifying, the data collection method gives you measurable variables. So quick recap about the types of variables: independent and dependent. First is independent variable, which does not change, which does not change with the change in any other variable. That is called as independent. Okay, dependent variable is the variable which experiences the change if there is a change in any other variable. That is called as independent variable. Okay, let me give you an example. This is all not written on the slides, I'm just giving you some extra. Independent variable, let's imagine a situation, very lame situation, but still it's okay. When parents gives us, when we used to be kids, when parents gives us pocket monies, we used to be very happy, right? So our happiness depends, used to be dependent on our pocket money, right? So our happiness was dependent variable, which was dependent on pocket money, which was independent, right? Okay, so dependent and independent. And one, there is one more variable called as extraneous variable. These are those variables which are beyond the control of researcher. They come and go, they come and they are the part of research, but researcher can't control. Okay, like for example, if there is a salary cut or salary increase in our father's salary, of our father's salary, right? Because of which the pocket money will increase or decrease. That's an extraneous variable, salary cut or salary decrease, right? There will be pocket money, but increase or decrease is something, which will be there. So salary cut and salary increase will be an extraneous variable which we can't help. There will be some factors associated with it. Extraneous variable which we can't control. Okay. Okay. So measurable variables, you understood. Sample size. Now, I told you for qualitative research, the sample size is relatively small. However, in Quantitative research, your sample size is low. Sorry, in quantitative research, your sample size is large. Okay, your sample size is large. Your sample size is large. Why? Because you need to collect the data from lot many people. Your sample size is fairly large. So that's why you need to take the span of hundreds or sometimes thousands of people. Depends upon your population size. Okay, all right. Now the next is well structured data representation. Now when you talk about data representation, your data representation is in quantitative research is generally very well represented with the help of uh, uh, significant data visualization tools, which are called as graphs or pie charts or histograms. Okay, so these are basically being chosen in quantitative research. Okay, all right. Then is can produce predictive outcomes. So in what happened in quantitative research, um, sometimes when you are collecting the data, when you are analyzing the data, the researcher is able to predict the outcomes before the analysis is happening. Okay, so on the basis of, because you are collecting the data from a large sample, so on the basis of the data you have collected, so you are able to predict the outcomes. Okay, all right. Okay. All right, I would like to take one question here. This is very interesting. So, somebody asked me educational neuroscience. What about intervening variable? See, those who does not know about intervening variables, these are basically they are generally called as hypothetical variables, and they explains the relationship between your independent and dependent variable. So, for example, let's say you would like to uh, discuss the relationship between how much you may access the healthcare. So if you have the money and that money is your independent variable and your lifespan is a dependent variable, so the quality of your healthcare is your intervening variable. So the relationship between independent and dependent variable is explained by these intervening variables. These are hypothetical variables. Okay. Okay. Quantitative research methods. Okay. Now, first is survey research. Now, this is one of the most commonly used survey quantitative research methods, in which the main aim is to basically gather the data. I'm so sorry, something happened. Main aim is to gather the data from a large population. Okay, and it also describe your characteristics of your target population. Now survey, you need to understand, survey is of two types. First is cross sectional, and next second is longitudinal. Understand, I'll make you understand in such a way that you will not forget. So when you talk about cross sectional is specific time on a given population, on a given sample. Finished. Let's say you are collecting a data. 300 is your sample size. You collected the data and you are done. Okay. Longitudinal is opposite. Long time. You are coming to the same population again and again. Okay. Let's say you have launched one particular product and you would like to understand the impact of that particular product on that population or on that sample, that how it changed the impact or how it influences the impact on that sample. So after 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, long duration. So understand, longitudinal survey, take the word like this: longitudinal, long, Same population, long time. Okay, so different time duration, same um, population or same sample when survey is conducted. All right, in cross sectional, specifically for a given time. Okay, now some survey based question is, how frequently do you answer your call while driving? How many texts do you send? How often do you respond to your text while driving or while at work? These kind of questions you may go for a survey based quantitative research. Okay, these questions are also called as items. Next is descriptive research. Now, in this methodology, basically, you need not to have mandatorily a hypothesis right from the start. You may form a hypothesis once your data is collected, so that you have a clear direction to your thesis. Now here, you may have, like, for example, elementary teachers using math manipulatives, global warming description for scientists, description of physical activities organized in schools. So here what is having is that once your data is collected, then you may assume certain hypothesis that this is my data, this is the data I have collected. Now before the analysis, you don't know what your data is going to predict, then you may assume certain hypothesis. Similarly, the way you formulate the hypothesis based on the same method, you may formulate the hypothesis, and then you may go for the hypothesis, and then you may describe. Like, for example, in descriptive, like say for example, you would like to conduct a thesis, or you may like to go for a sample research. What are the factors which impact the volunteering habit in an individual? So for that, you may go for a descriptive research. Okay. Then there is a correlation research. See, correlation research, I think the name itself says a lot. When you would like to describe a relationship between two variables or two entities, like for example, you would like to identify, or you'd like to establish, or you'd like to look out for the relationship between type of activities done in a particular class and how it is impacting the behavior of the students. So now see, your research questions again decides what kind of type of quantitative research you will go for. Now, if you are looking for any relationship type of research, your correlation research method will go, because it's very clear that you would like for correlation research. Here, you are trying to look out for relationship between two variables, impact of one on another, that how one creates a change in another. Okay, all right. Next is experimental research. Experimental research is basically, when you are trying to compare one group from another. Okay, and you are trying basically to identify the cause and effect relationship, that what is causing one and how one is affecting another. In correlation, just the relationship was being identified, just the relationship, whether there is a relationship or not. In experimental research, cause and effect, this is one is happening because of another. Okay, this is mainly is being testing in experimental research. Okay, all right. Another is questionnaire and interviews. So in questionnaire, you have multiple type of questionnaires: open-ended questions, and then MCQs, and close-ended questions. Also you have ranking questions, yes no questions. Yes no questions are also called as dichotomous questions. Dichotomous questions, so if you hear a word called dichotomous questions, so please understand it is yes no questions. Okay, MCQs, you know that it is multiple choice questions. Interviews is one-on-one questions when you ask. Apart from interviews, you may also go for telephonic or online interviews questions. Okay. All right. Now, how do you do the data analysis and quantitative analysis? Quantitative data analysis. First is predictive analysis. So first you have applied the tests. Okay, whatever data collection you have done, whatever types of quantitative research you have applied. Then after that, first is predictive analysis. Now, predictive analysis basically focuses on what aspects, what of the research, what your sample is, looking for, what are the features they are preferred by, what are the impact on the sample. So this aspect you will know from your research questions. Okay. Then prescriptive analysis. In prescriptive analysis, you are basically combining two or three analysis. When one is not enough to yield better results, prescriptive analysis, I basically make the students understand like it's like prescription of the doctor. So it's like when one tablet or one medicine is not able to yield the better treatment for the medicine or for the disease, so doctors give two or three medicines. Similarly, so when the disease is not being getting treated, when one medicine, doctor gives you many. Similarly, when one method is not applicable, you go for two to three. Then statistical analysis, it is one of the most commonly used data analysis method in quantitative data analysis, in which you go for finding answers to what happened, in which you go for analysis, modeling like t-test, f-test, you go for ANOVA, or you go for correlation test, you go for R square, you find adjusted R square, Cronbach alpha. All these tests you apply, and then you find out, you test your hypothesis, you go for accepting or rejecting alternate or null hypothesis, and then you elaborate your results. All right. Further, in statistical analysis, there are two type. Understand here, when you are going for descriptive analysis, okay, so in descriptive analysis, you only go for means and deviations, means and standard deviations. You only restrict yourself. Just understand or kindly make a note of it. Please, when you are going for descriptive analysis, you only restrict yourself to means, standard deviation, frequencies, and percentage. And you can show your data analysis with bar graphs. That's it. Simple, finish. Let's say, I'll give you an example. I just took an example of that. If you would like to understand of factors which are influencing the volunteering behavior, social volunteering behavior in an individual in Delhi NCR region, okay, that why people prefer to volunteer or not to volunteer for social causes. So for this, you will go for descriptive analysis. In You prefer to go for descriptive analysis, and you rank the factors. Let's say income, that if somebody has higher income, then they can spend more. Time, if somebody has if somebody has too much of time, or they are free on weekend, then they go for volunteering. Okay, so these kind of data analysis called as descriptive analysis, where you are just ranking the factors. Then comes your inferential analysis. This kind of analysis is done, this method is used where samples are derived from complete research methods. The researcher can choose different samplings and different conclusion when they are analyzing the same comprehensive data sets. Okay, that why this income is ranking at this method, what is the contribution of income into volunteering behavior. Okay, if income is being preferred as the top ranking behavior, then what is the contribution in volunteering? If time has been contributed as second behavior, then what is the contribution? So you test all. Okay, so this is the inferential. So what do you infer out of the data which has been collected? This is describing the data, this is inferring the data. Okay, now coming the last section of this webinar, that is mixed research. In this, you are basically combining the both qualitative, quantitative. So you have understood both. So herein you are combining the both, that is qualitative and quantitative research. So respectively, you have understood both the kind of researches, and when you combine the both, you come as mixed research. Just one thing I would like to just add in here, that is mixed research is very much preferable. It is one of the most preferred kind of research, and especially when you are doing your PhDs. So, in my opinion, if you have, especially if you are going for social sciences and HR domain, especially go for mixed research. However, this is a time consuming kind of research, because you need to go for two different kind of researches parallelly or sequentially also, which I'll talk about it now. And then you have to analyze the two different data sets and you need to present them. So it's a time consuming one. So if you have a restrictive time frame, then choosing mixed research should be a wise decision. Okay, then scenario for mixed research, that what should be the scenario when you should go for a mixed research. So maybe let's say you would like to study road safety on a particular road, that how much on a particular road there is a road safety. You can take a purely quantitative approach if your main metric is the daily average number of road accidents. Let's say you would like to, if you would like to understand that how many road accidents happen on a particular road, so quite understand, right? You'll go for a quantitative research. Okay. For a qualitative study, you can interview drivers on their thought on driving in certain road sections. If you would like to go for qualitative study, so you may would like to interview drivers, that what they think if they are driving on a particular road, right, which is more of accident prone. Okay, when you are going for a mixed research, this seems like the most appropriately way to answer the questions when you would like to uncover that the cause and effect relationship between qualitative and quantitative variables in a detailed study. That why, firstly, number of accidents are happening and why they are happening. That is, when the accidents are happening and what the drivers are thinking that time. So if any accident is happening on this road, because the road is not faulty, right? If the road is fine, there is a highway, there is no mistake, I mean road is smooth, there is no blockage on the road, bumps on the road. So you'd like to understand the psyche of the driver while driving. So for that, you'll go for mixed methods. So you understood the number of accidents happening, that is quantitative. Now you'll understand that why on this particular road the maximum number of accidents are happening. So for this, you'd like to interview the drivers who are meeting with the accidents. So for this, you like to talk to them, qualitative. Combining both, mixed research. Okay. Okay. When you should choose the mixed research? See, you should choose the mixed research when you'd like to display, as I told you, when you have to display both the characteristics, and when you would like to give the logic behind your quantitative numbers very clearly. Your quantitative number, when they are backed up by the qualitative reasoning, it becomes strengthened. If you are, let's say for example, if you just say that online courses are preferred by students in India, for example, 70% of online courses are preferred by in India. Okay. Now the next question comes, how can you say that? A general approaches, how can you say that? That how will be answered by qualitative. Now if you combine both of them, you give a mixed research. So that's why I said in starting that if you are going for a PhD wherein your course gives you a time scope, you should go for a mixed research, so that there is no scope of further questioning. Okay. Okay, so there are some mixed research methods as well. So first is explanatory sequential. In this mixed research, first you collect and analyze quantitative data, then you do the qualitative data. Okay, first quantitative and then qualitative. Okay, and I have given the same reasoning of the road accidents. Example is of road accidents, that accidents happen, you interview the drivers, so you will give the reason why they happen. So quantitative and then qualitative. Okay, then you move to exploratory sequential. Again, remember like this, exploratory means explore, exploring. Okay, remember like this, you when you explore, so explore means lot of data. When you say lot of data, qualitative data. Okay, so first you do this, first what you will do, first you will do this qualitative, then you do the quantitative in exploratory. Okay, so this approach can be used, also be used to formulate your research problem and hypothesis. After you develop a valid hypothesis, your quantitative methods can be used to test those hypotheses. Okay, now example is, you can begin, you first you talk to the drivers. Okay, you talk, give them the questionnaires or you interview them. Okay, then you look at the number of accidents which is happening. Okay, so then you can compare that why the accidents are happening, and simultaneously you have the reasonings in your hand which they have explained in the questionnaire. So first you collect the qualitative data, and then you have the quantitative data. I'll repeat it once more, don't worry. Explanatory sequential, in first you explain, repeat, learn it like this, explain. Okay, I'm explaining the numbers first. So when I'm talking about numbers, quantitative data, then I will talk about qualitative. Okay, so firstly I will calculate the number of accidents, then I will see where the accidents are happening mostly, so which are the high risk areas. Okay, then I will talk to the drivers. When they are driving to the high risk areas, what is their psyche going on, why, what are the explanations which they give when they are driving to these areas. This is explanatory sequential. Exploratory sequential is completely opposite, exploring. So qualitative first and then quantitative first. Okay, then the next is parallel, quantitative, qualitative together. Okay, so the findings are analyzed separately, and whatever conclusions are coming, then they are compared. So that quantitative data is saying this, qualitative saying is this. Okay? All right. Now this is the time for your questions now. Yes, we are open for the questions now. I have repeated the explanations. Now, one question is here that what type of research is suitable for guest host relationship in tourism? I think you should go for Hasina. You should go for qualitative research. This will go for qualitative research, completely qualitative research. Uh, if there are no individual as respond, then what will be the source of data? Then it will be systematic literature review. If you do not have any sample to be taken, then it will be systematic literature review. Yeah. Okay. Then it will be systematic literature review. You may go, we may understand it like this, that in case of that you do not have any sample to be taken, or you would not like to take any sample to be taken, then you can go for that. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hypothesis is an assumption which we test through our research. In quasi experiment, somebody said it. Yeah, in quasi, see experimental research, you understand. In quasi experimental research, basically we try to evaluate, we firstly we try to evaluate if there is an intervention, how much that intervention will be impactful during an experiment. That is quasi experimental research. Okay, sample size. To evaluate sample size, you need to know your population, and there are various formulas for this, Bhakti. Okay, so we have conducted that also. Neuroscience systematic literature review. We have conducted the webinar on that also. I think we will conduct that also. Systematic literature review. I'll give you a quick recap on that. When you understand, when you conduct your literature based on the when you conduct your research based on the literature of your topic, related topic, previously published literature. Okay, need to have your research protocol, your exclusion inclusion criteria. Okay. Now Sudhir, your question is whether mixed type is best for disease diagnosis. Now, when you are saying disease diagnosis, again I said the same thing. You need to have your what you would like to identify your disease diagnosis, whether there is a disease or not. You can do it for quantitative research. Why there is a disease, then you'll have to go for qualitative research. Now you would like to identify both, then mixed type is best, right? Now you go for it. Okay, we'll do that again. Thank you so much. PhD in marketing, where we can choose topic for research. I want to go for PhD in marketing. Go for literature review first. First, read about your topic, what you would like to, what you are interested in marketing, what is your preferred area in marketing. Go for that. Data analysis sources depends upon whether you want to go for qualitative or quantitative. Preferably, you when you go for quantitative data analysis, you use a software SPSS. You may go for that. Excel also people use it for that, but SPSS is one stop solution for every student, which is new also. Okay. Now, Meenak's accounts, whosoever he is, what type of research we should go for understand the impact of technology on operational essentials. Now, you tell me, we just did this thing that if you want to understand the impact of one variable on another, you tell me which kind of research we will do. You yourself tell me. Let me tell you one example. It will be quantitative research, right? Which type of quantitative research? You will go back to this webinar PPT and you will find the answer yourself. Okay. Hint I have given you: quantitative research. Which type of quantitative research? You will find yourself. How to find a research gap? Research gap will be find out by Hasina when you'll go for literature review, and then after doing the literature review, you will go for the previous researches, and then you will find out that what areas or what aspects have not been studied, what variable has not been covered. See, for example, if somebody has understood what is the impact of job satisfaction on employee productivity, let's say in Dubai, but similar study is not being done in Delhi, this is a gap. Do it on that, right? So this kind of research gap is being understood or is being conducted when you do a thorough literature review, that which variable is covered, which region is covered. So similar studies can be done, maybe is covered in one area, may not be covered in another area. Okay, that also can be a gap. Thank you so much. Thank you. If content of literature received, we can use for see, for systematic literature also, although it's not a topic for today's webinar, but still I'll cover it. See, when you talk about systematic literature, every article is not supposed to be taken in your data sources. Why? Because you need to decide your research protocol. In systematic review also, you need to set your research questions. Okay, that what you are actually trying to find out from your study. Based on that, you need to decide your research protocol, inclusion and exclusion criteria, that which kind of article will be used and which kind of article will not be used. Okay. Okay, illusions fades away, and the name was Ashika. Ashika is not fine. It's not tough. It's not at all tough. See, you guys take it as tough. Let me tell you. I'll tell you one thing. An easy way to find the research gaps. See, when you do the research literature review, okay, what you do is, these days what happen is, you just glance through the literature. You don't read it. No, no, no. Don't be sorry. Nobody, please don't be sorry for your questions. Questions means that you are listening to me. Okay. So questions are anytime welcome. Okay. So Asika, coming back to your questions, don't you just glance through the pages of the literature. You guys don't read the literature. What do you do? Like, for example, you are reading. So one author may have explained motivation in one way, in by four variables. Another has did by three variables. Okay, so you may understand motivation in one region with the help of these three variables. Somebody may not have covered these three variables in one region with these three variables. That can be a research gap, and not necessarily this research gap will come through your literature. Look around yourself. So many things are going on. So you think so many things are going on. Chat GPT is going on, AI will going on. You think that okay, fine. My brother is going to college. He enjoys so much to the science period. What factors make him to enjoy science period? Is this the teacher who makes the learning so practical? So the teaching approach and its influence on students' learning. Let me read about it. This also can land you in this research gap. So think, widen your horizon to approach towards a research gap. All right, please do that. I think it will help all of you, not only to Asika, it will help all of you. Okay, in vivo software can be used. It is very commonly used by students for qualitative data analysis. um, this can be used for your qualitative data analysis. In vivo is very helpful for your coding also. Atlas also can be used, but I prefer that in vivo also can be used. Yeah. Help of no no I think Pragati, the question should be, do I help in writing research paper? That should be better. I don't help in publication because there are a lot of research journals which are available. All right. Yes, I'm there available on the editorial members of review members of the journals, but I don't help and I don't charge. I'm not associated with publication of any this thing research paper. Thank you so much. I hope it will help you all. It will help you all. And but don't just stuck yourself in looking for just and the problem is that everything is has stuck to online these days. So you don't read properly. And trust me, I can bet you don't read, guys. That's why you don't find the research gaps. So once you start reading, you'll find the research gap. Hi Jyoti. Hi, how are you? And I understand how difficult it is to find a research gap. I have been through this trouble, so I can understand the pain. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. It's been really wonderful to interact with such a interactive audience. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See, I might be harsh sometimes, but because I need to, coordinate everybody and see, coordinating such kind of webinar is to not to, we don't assume that everybody is at same level. By saying level, it means we don't expect that everybody knows everyone. Because if you guys knows everything, so there is no point of coordinating or conducting these kind of webinars. So we expect that you are here to learn, and this is an interactive session. So my approach and my my I try to make these sessions as simplify as I can. Can you write the program for me? I did not get your point, Rehan. Can you elaborate? There are, Arun, there are many Scopus Index multidisciplinary journal. Which particular discipline you are looking for? Yes, reading is the only solution, Asika. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. So please, if anybody feel offended, please don't take it otherwise, because these kind of webinars are being organized for everyone, for everyone. If anyone knows, that's very good. But if we keep the standards really high, so there is no point if many of you don't understand, right? Because research is one topic which I personally feels that big, that there are n number of books, but the language which is given in the books is not understood by everyone. Many a times the language in the books is not understood by many students, and that's the point, that students take research as toughest subject, which I think it's not. Okay. So please don't take it otherwise anything, and this is an interactive session, so please be a part of regularly of these kind of webinars, so we'll be there. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, you are looking for ELT journal. I think English language teaching journal is, if I'm understanding it right, it's itself is a double blind peer review journal, Arun, if I'm not wrong. Thank you, neuroscience. Thank you so much. Program for Rehan, for this you'd have to get in touch with the team. All right. Okay. Which question, Kaiser? I'm so sorry if it remains unanswered. Please, if you may type the question again. I'm so sorry if remains. I'll scroll back once more. It will may takes full time. If it would be nice if you can type the question, Kaiser, again, because I am scrolling up. I'm not able to find the question of yours. Okay. Kaiser, I would request you to please type your question once more. Okay, this is Sham Sundar. All right, very good. Uh, Thank you, Zarina. Kaiser, if you're there, I'm waiting for your question, dear. Arun, ELT, I think it's if I'm not wrong, it's being published by Oxford University Press, right? And I'm sure that it is, it is a very qualitative journal to get through. It's a very qualitative journal to get through. Yeah, very qualitative journal. And if you are going for it, so then all the best to you. Yes, Ms. Kavi, I would request you to write which method is used for article writing. If she has written something, yeah. Okay, okay, Shyam. Okay, Mr. Shyam. Okay. Kaiser, I'm waiting for your question. I'm logged in for my device also. Please, if you can tell me, because I can't see your question if it's there or not. Yeah, I can't see your question anywhere. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. So, have a happy weekend, and we'll see again in the next weekend, in the next webinar. It will be notified to you in time, and hope to see you again in the next webinar. So happy learning and keep learning. If there is any services required, any facilitation required for the research, please let research graduate know. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.